Welcome students. This video is a quick review on negative exponents. Let's look at some simple examples. When I see a negative exponent, that tells me that my term is sitting in the wrong location. If it's in the numerator, it needs to move to the denominator, and if it's in the denominator, it needs to move to the numerator. My first step is to look at my fraction and identify all the terms with negative exponents. In example A, I can see that both x terms are in the wrong spot. My next step, then, is to move them where they belong. Their exponent will remain the same, but once I've moved it across the fraction bar, it will become positive. For this first example, x to the third will move down below, and x to the negative fourth will move up and become x to the fourth above. Now, just like I did with my division examples, I can expand these out. X to the fourth is x times itself 4 times. X to the third is x times itself 3 times. And now I'm going to cancel any terms that I can, top to bottom. Notice the entire bottom gets canceled, and I'm just left with an x on top. My answer then would be x over 1, or just x. Both of these would work. Looking at example B, 1 over y to the negative fourth, I can see that y to the negative fourth is on the wrong side of my fraction bar. This tells me it needs to move up across the bar. So y to the fourth will come up, and 1 will take its place down below. Since there's nothing left to simplify, this would be my final answer. I could give it as y to the fourth or y to the fourth over 1, and it would make no difference. Let's try some trickier ones. Example A, x squared y to the negative third over xz. My first step is to move my negative exponent terms down. So y to the negative third needs to cross the fraction bar. So then I would end up with x squared on top, xz, y to the positive third power down below. Now I see that I have x's above and below, so I can expand it out. This would be x times x over xz, y. I'll cross out my one pair of x's, which leaves an x on top, and y to the third power times z down below. This would be my simplified answer. Pause the video and try the next example on your own. When you're ready, unpause and follow along. Again, I'll start by identifying any term with a negative exponent. I can see the x to the negative second and z to the negative first up above. This tells me they are located in the wrong spot. This means x to the negative second needs to come down below. So does z to the negative first, which will become just z to the first power. Then x to the third, z to the third, we're already down there, and I'll leave to my y to the third up top. At this point I see that there are some things to be simplified, so I'll expand it out. I'll end up with y times y up above, x times x times z times x times x times x times z times z times z. If I simplify this, I can see that my y's can't cancel with anyone, so y to the third will remain on top. If I look at my x's, I'll see 2 and 3, which gives me a base of x and an exponent of 5. As I identify my z's, I see 1 and 3, which gives me z to the power of 4, and this would be my final simplified answer. Now let's try a couple with coefficients. 3x to the negative third y squared z to the negative fourth over 4x to the negative fifth y z to the negative third. I'm going to start by identifying any term with a negative exponent, just like I've been doing. Now, I'm going to move them across the fraction bar wherever they belong. X to the negative third will move down, and x to the negative fifth will move up. This will make both of these exponents positive. Y squared will stay where it is, and y will stay where it is. Z to the negative fourth will move down below and become z to the fourth. And z to the negative third will move up and become z to the third. And my coefficients will just fill in where they were. Now I see that there are some exponents that can be simplified. So I'll expand it out. My top becomes 3x to the fifth as x times itself 5 times. Y squared z to the third. All over 4x to the third y z to the fourth. Now I'll cancel out anyone I can. I see that some of my x's can cancel, 1y, and 3 z's. So my final simplified answer will be 3x squared over 4z. And I can't forget that last y. Now that all my terms are accounted for, I have my final answer, 3x squared y over 4z. My coefficients can't be simplified any further, so I'm done with this problem. I want you to try B. When you're ready to check it, unpause the video. I'll start by finding all of my terms with negative exponents. Once I've identified them, I will move them. As I rewrite my fraction, my coefficient of 6 will stay. I need to move n to the negative fourth up top to become n to the fourth, and p will stay up top. Down below, I have m already there, plus another m to the third will move down, n to the second will move down, and p to the third will stay where it is. I can see that I have some terms that can be simplified further, so I'll expand it out. 6n to the fourth, p on top, over m times m to the third times n squared times p to the third. Now I'll cancel out any pairs from top to bottom. I see that I can get rid of 2 pair of n's and a pair of p's. That will leave me 6n squared on the top of my fraction. I have m to the fourth and p squared in the denominator. And this would be my final simplified answer. Thanks for watching.